enya asem keto akra www.owiatv.com sa enso na Facebook any YouTube no so Owia TV official TikTok nso sa 105.9 FM precise ewo Kumasi anu a ni nyina mo nsa beka bi enso ye wo Amekom Stadium ehope na yewi ensme de somo na awiedie edi mu akoteni animo no ebi ene se Ghana mampanyi de atodwa se afedie wonmo ensa so anase wo man no nsa aka bia fofra ye kwakotu efom wo a enye asem keto ade ani gisem abre wo man no
mampanyi sanso de atodwa se ye kabma me kabire ni kwanse de bia ekoye sabato nkoche se osemu do na ekwa yi
Sentio oye refine me no Kaseɛ one ma bam efrimpem ahanan no de ekɔ empembe se ahensia
Yenimsa Public Utility Regulatory Commission da ba to dwa se nkane ani nsuo bo ne yenhwe ne mo sekita wo sabosomi a ye ba besim ne de di kan no emu ba bepeja ye ka so ma be kyerem niam ahodo bi a eye ana adwubekɔ mienu efam nti ehu abehia so omoto nkane ani nsuo bo
me no Kaseɛ enhye ne mra won mo ye se ne be ya bayibo a won mo ya bie eho ahyeye nyina no won mo ebeje atuma na se wo matwamu no eguso e wo mrahye bedwafi a ba bia duro no ekɔ animu pa
enkrata beto ya pono so kyerɛ se ebetumi asi se nyame ya domo next pricing window eba fango ho nsɛm no a enema betumi akɔfom
MPP amanyoko ene Kennedy okompreko Japan won mo nyanwini fra amanyoko no mu anase wo mu enyino akwa akosisɛn
Oman so for shempo mede ho nsɛm so ye ono obokwabna menta akando se aban no abone homode am ye kase wanya scholarship de ama apomode a kyerɛkyerɛfo be se duasa so omonkɔ no omonkɔ bene omo ho wadesua FM
Don reba kwa edi animu de wei ani pia eka ho a ya ne se Kaseɛ na ye de besom wona na se ni bi ekɔ de amadwapin rural bank be se Kaseɛ mu a wo mo ye akunni no mo ye abopon ewo mo fi hye aduana ba akunni wuyi won mo na kyese wo mo maka nyina na atosante se sanko bi a won mo edi akyire won mo abin ye panti besia awodo a wo pe na de ahye odwetire mo ama odwetire na se wudwadie no atimi akonkan ne eye dwabin rural bank ni usi nkonya fefefe no ma ye ntotoye a obi a ebobeto ne yemo na ade abotoye mo aba na afi waje usika ede akọ ene ye to shares no betimi abaye shareholder wo dwabin rural bank na no ane se obeda eye star 389 star 984 hash dinhye no so na to shares na ba be bi emfa so bebre ne wo mo abaso body scholarship a ye de emma wo betimi ama wo made akọ school ama bibia atimi akọ kan fixed deposit no e ma remfe 3 months 6 months 12 months na eno nso no a wo bebre wo no kwa ba ye no tenase enya abotre no wo matie wo ankasa no kransi wo se na wo pe ye no akọ adwembankrom no ahyehyɛ wo mo nko a na eye ne sa frɛ 0242387498 0242387498 na yada ye Fanko Enterprise so ase e won mo so ye Kaseɛ na ankasa Fanko building no e wo bofu edusa enso na oyepa oyepa TV ene FM no so e wo adumu a wo ko hon ma won sa e be kan mo de ne wo mo ye nyina no se won mo boa ma ofie no atimi aye fie na asipi na asita eno nti obata so apono abesisie wadwa wo toilet no so enema bia ye de ma toilet eye fanity WC no ene enwo ene ma shower no ne ade abefo kwan ya abaye a ene wo ma ye nfefefa wo disiesie obata house a e ma ne ya akọ na won ma kofa bi e de aba e won mo China doors no e ma remfi se ubenya na papa ne Turkey doors no won mo e de aba e bambom ni security doors a enye asem keto apa podro be awodo na wo de be hyehye fom no e wo se onya de ye papa na etimi eche na enso wia enso ejampo eno de a eye Fanko e hono mo na wonsa ebeka bi eno nti fra won mo e wo 0544745586 ana 0242387498 there eno wo ni dwa won mo ne
Oman macro enso eye enamo ede agwadie mu anu nsuo no ede aduane bia wo ye bia wo pesa ye de na aduane no eye kama na etuhwa oman macro na ye to ede agum se ye bayire no a we hu hia so betwumako no aso watu oman macro no na ade aka ho na wadi wo city no a wo ye wo light soup no enkwan papa no a wo ye aduane bia wo ye bia ma we mfise okodwa so a obato oman macro na wode ababedu dwuma efrise eye de na ye kama de nipadua ne hia bia enso ewom edos wom na de no aduane bia nso a emmubo se de egum no a ubenya ne sa pepepe de amount dodo de nyame extra sunti frey 0242726379 and 0551205063 never je o macro ni be na won so fd uchuma
akenkanfo a mote yenkan ye me abusua pani owusu dio memene
ajwa nyako abronoma
ene na yenkyeremo kase no emu Ghana mampanyi John Dramani mama edin sembi edi atudwa na ne nyina akogina Ghana National Petroleum Corporation GNPC ekwaya wono faso no mu di dwuma na aboa mo men etimi akwankan ewo efonwo ahodo no mu na mbeka ya wo men mu mprempre no be yetu efonwo ni nyina na akoye biaye a akoye ensuo mu ena yeyiya na yedi firi ni ade a ebre di kan ni a ye ba be gi fom ni bia enye nsuo mu ene ye ba be yi afinde mu eya asase pese so na ye de afidie e ba be si so ne yetutuo ne ewura mu ne yeyiyi efom enwo ni bie ena Ghana mampanyi John Dramani mama ede ensemi ede tudwa abra na senchio oil refinery na wono eye nhyehyɛ na wono fa to so mienu ngesi broni e kan se phase 2 no wono ato aso ebudi chi akọ womanim eno na ode tudwa wo chem se enu nti enne enam so yie we be de edi kan ya wono ba beye na etimi aboa amoman etimi afa ne ntampa efra.
I'm also happy to report that Explorco, which is the operating arm of GNPC, is poised to begin onshore drilling in the Voltairean Basin before the end of this year. And when I say onshore, it means on land. Offshore, so far all our discoveries have been offshore in the sea. We've discovered a lot of potential onshore. And so GNPC is going to, through Explorco, start drilling wells to explore that oil before the end of this year. The reset is about repositioning Ghana from a nation that primarily exports raw materials to one that processes, manufactures, refines, and creates value within its own borders. It is about ensuring that a greater share of the wealth generated from our natural resources remain in Ghana to create jobs, support businesses, build industries, and improve livelihoods. Whether it is crude oil, it is gold, bauxite, lithium, cocoa, or any agricultural produce, the future belongs to nations that move beyond the export of raw materials and embrace value addition. The future belongs to nations that refine, manufacture, and export their finished products. And this is why the expansion of Central Refinery is so important. It represents precisely the kind of investment Ghana needs at this stage of our development. It strengthens our industrial base, it deepens our energy value chains, it creates employment opportunities, it supports local industries, and it advances our broader objective of transforming Ghana into a modern industrial economy.
Emfa woni egudi ewo wo fom ne ade no ene ne ma wodo nyina no se woye ne saa na otabiri ne saa za tabiri nwa na ade kopie mo nkrofo ma so abra wa wontumi nsakra mu na womfa nye nioma ahodo ewo mamu a ene na ayo hu ohwemwo enu nti ne nei ehu akohia sesencho oil refinery wonmo atete wonmo ahye mu a wonmo bam ni nyina betimi aboa amome enye sika etimi abiebie nyuma na ho nkra bata ne nyina ne yensa etimi akabi Ghana mampanyi John Dramani Mahama
era so atina Ghana mampanyi John Dramani Mahama na wakwakasa ewo fourth annual convening Edma Ghana Civil Society Forum jumade ya say ena mampanyi ko ya wode akwakoto dwa se Ghana ye ka kebma menka bia yo man ye kura mu yie pa na ne afiri sa aban ye to aba edi eyi aban bia no duru ho bia ya na ekoboko ye to aba de wi a ye unsa asumdwem party e na teso na se ye kasa party b ne ye pa ne ekoto aba ma no a ye be hu de first smooth transition no na che se akoso ye be unsa asumdwe ton e na abre bia e ya na ekoso mapanyi che se sa ne ma wa nyina se de aban bia so ba otie ne manfo na obia wa akonya so obeche na adwen esentrofo yo mo de na nanu mo yo mo de sa ne ma ni nyina e ne kabo magana ye kaba me kabi no ekra ye no abo ye mo maso a de bia ye de abo ye ho safo hene no eno ene kwan ye fa so abre brebia ye no mampanyi se efe eye de na nso eni kwase de bia ke mame ke bia manako yesa ya amanyosem na ya abato ho sam kwa na emom e wo se kotra na ne kwan ya befa so a Ghana ebetumi afa ne tuma pefre ebetrem amanako eche na Ghana afa na ne ntwono ni nyina enya ye democracy no esonfa so no mampanyi twese sa hye na hodo ni nyina e na wo so man mu nyina ye hye na ye de hyen no ekọ na ye kodru Ghana mampanyi John Dramani Mahama.
More than 3 decades after the birth of the Fourth Republic, we have every reason to celebrate the resilience of our democracy. We've witnessed peaceful transfers of power, strengthened democratic institutions, an increasingly vibrant media landscape, and growing citizens' participation in public life. These achievements should never be taken for granted. Continuous renewal is an essential component of democratic consolidation. And the true test of democracy is not only whether citizens vote every 4 years, it is whether citizens feel heard. It is whether institutions remain accountable. It is whether public policy responds to the aspirations of the ordinary citizens. And it is whether development reaches every community and whether every Ghanaian believes they have a stake in our collective national future. These are the questions that bring us together today. Across the world, democracies are facing significant challenges: declining public trust, misinformation, social polarization, economic inequality, climate-related disruptions, and growing uncertainty within the international and global system. These are testing institutions as we have never seen before in decades. Ghana is not immune to these pressures. However, our response must not be to retreat from democratic principles. It must be for us to deepen our democracy, strengthen our institutions, widen participation, and build stronger partnerships between governments and the citizens. At the same time, the global development
Ghana Mampanyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Yensa enko ye chine yenko sentio onye refinery eho ensem no biemu na ma no guso a me kan me chem se eneye wonmo abo wonmo so apagya wonmo afri de na wonmo yo ndada no mu ama emprempre wonmo ko animu pa ebre bia na nka wonmo so de ade enkoche nkosa no na mpembe se aduanan ye ankore no na wonmo aye ho adwuma eneyi wonmo mem ade empem aduosia ade aka ho ama akwakodru empem ewo ha ewo honmo na Ghana Mampanyi John Dramani Mahama di tudwa wotem se na hu behia na dayiye pa se sentio oye refinery wonmo tu sa na moye ama ne ebre bia no ankora wodro wonmo dadan efom wonanie no wonmo mamu edikoso wose wei edi adanse befe se ebeboa ama afeye no enwuma no atimi aba mankrofo anya enwuma bebre ede yaye saa enso na ne daso se emfididwuma aho ensem a abenye no ye na desoa na opeso ye nwadwuma no eno so betimi awie paywo ama eniema timi akonkan afe ya won ne ensam so eba fam wono so a na ese niema beda yie pa wose we nyina sa wo hwa a etoda ewiase adwama so no amanyosam predo menteme wase babia fam woni free banenti no toda na wonsam na koye kana na ho kwa atwe se kana babu no enti enen ya akoba ne sa ama sanchie won mo twa homammuo ama won mo nwumadiem ne kwan peso mo ba won mo enhihye mu phase 2 no won mo ahyase no eyade a eda yie pa.
This expansion is not merely an investment in infrastructure. It is an investment in Ghana's future. It is an investment in our energy security, in our industrial growth, in our job creation and economic resilience. By increasing domestic refining capacity, we reduce our dependence on imported refined petroleum products. We strengthen the reliability of our fuel supply chains. We retain more value within our economy and create opportunities for Ghanaian businesses and Ghanaian workers. More importantly, this project positions Ghana to meet growing domestic and regional energy demand while enhancing our competitiveness within the West African sub-region. This milestone comes at a particularly important moment in our national journey. Over the past several months, Ghana's economy has begun to turn around. Macroeconomic stability is steadily being restored. Production from the Jubilee field has increased significantly from approximately 60,000 barrels per day to about 85,000 barrels per day currently. The 10 and Sankofa fields have also recorded measurable increases in output. These gains demonstrate that through targeted investments, sound policy interventions, and effective collaboration between government and industry, we can revitalize the sector, sustain existing assets, and unlock new growth opportunities. I'm also happy to report that Explorco, which is the operating arm of GNPC, is poised to begin onshore drilling in the Voltairean Basin before the end of this year.
Ghana Mampenny John Dramani Mama Abra Sentio Oil Refinery, one more Yadmekua, one more dada, a phone when ye not one more yenses, any amamani amani, na fe one more about one more Kwabemuno, and Namampenny didn't see me a tuja. And
him say Ababa Toja say July was me Ababa Sivini Dikan through Okono. Ensio ene afa nyina mahoden ebono mpanifo chese mu ba be peja kakra ba ye na dodo no kasa de efa ho enam so ama executive secretary wono Public Utility Regulatory Commission PURC Dr. Safik Suleman Ababonten abecheche mu ne mahodo bi a ehianti a wo sensuo ne nkane abo no empanifo epeja mu kakra ne kyerɛ mu no era wode etudwa sai o manya e wo mu mprempren ya boso me bia se ECG peso o ma ye nkane na ejina so na nkane no enya hwe na ne etibi jina so aso mama ne boso me a o mo boka be se $92 million na se sika o mo de tutu sika o mo nya boso me bia ho a na kyese ye ka ene bebo kyese tibi kwa nimu a na o man yi foto sama asoye no ena kyese o mo kura ya no makope bibi kakra bi e dia bre ahoneni asoye no ansana adwuma no a ECG betumi anase sika no a o metumi e dia hyemu aba ma o man no yetumi enya nkane na so no ansa no mo etumi aye owieye ene wokoso akire mu se mu se aban no 1 Ghana cedi levy no a na wo ho no ene fangu bia beto bia 1 liter bia na 1 cedi eda so no sa sika no omobobo no ni nyina omunya abaye se $8 billion omunya $8 million na sa sika yi omunya ye no no so omuni kotua IPPs no ka sa de be ya ne ka no wo ho no a emene sa asoye no eno so ebetumi akofo mo sa ne ma we nyina ena aka bom amasa aginasie yi etumi abaso Dr. Shafik Suleiman Nsemni.
And we are using all that, I think, for the accounts I've seen to pay and sustain that part. And that's actually what is keeping the lights on. A debt. So the government had to go and borrow to come and sustain the power sector. So every year, before our lights can be kept on consistently for 12 months, the Ministry of Finance must cough out money to ensure that we pay for the cost of all these fuels as we speak. It's $92 million. So when you see your lights on for 30 days, what it means is that aside the tariff we are paying, the Ministry of Finance is also putting in $92 million, the 1 cedi on the petroleum products that was passed. So that has been used, and I think there's a report to Parliament that have come across from finance and have gone through. So that money has accumulated. If you see, that's accumulated about 8 billion. So they've used that 8 billion to pay off most of the arrears. We've not paid all the arrears from the IPPs. Most of the arrears for the IPPs. We've also used some of it to pay to get back the risk guarantees on the Sankofa Jinyame gas production. And then we've also paid off the accumulated debt that was putting Ghana's credit rating at a very terrible outlook. So we've restored that World Bank risk guarantee with ENI. So it's now making Ghana look so good, and our credit rating has also taken shape. I think we've also used that amount to pay for the cost of the gas, the 70 million to the gas suppliers, to the to
Shafik Suleiman we ya omananso ha ko so akasa ye say no ene krofobik asan kan ya bon de say de asa busumi bia ehurija ohiri no akosia no ohiri no akosia o se de bi entisa na mom we ni ahyehyɛ ya wo sampanyifo dugu akwam se de be ya enkane no ebegyina so kyerɛ edi amaye.
So we kind of done the rate setting guidelines updates, and then we are using them at all times to ensure that we take care of the macroeconomic variable, then the weighted average cost of gas, and then the hydrothermal mix. So it's the same. And we try as much as possible to not allow the consumer to get spike in tariff adjustment. I think that's also very important. We don't want a situation where at the end of the quarter, you are getting 10% tariff adjustment. That's not, you are getting 7% or 8% tariff adjustment. So you are trying to even it out and keep a fairly stable, fairly predictable, and fairly even tariff. That will not have an excessive impact on businesses, and will not also have it's also having political implications. So you are making it you are trying your best to even it out, to make it in such a way that it will be not too much, and it will also be at a point where you
Suleiman wono oye chofo penyi Edema Public Utility Regulatory Commission e se we no mo de amaye tofo bo oso we ni ye de o ma aso ma kwa de betumi aboa ye nyina ma nka ne ye gina so no e na ma sese no o mo de ntumo no enso eba
na sanso na aba ne guso awo ko a de betimi ama efom agya ne nam no so pampe se de be nya fam no bi ne de adwumenti ye da so agina semtuo eye oil refinery sense no nya asem ketwa empanyi simi ko bi ne man ka bi de ya ne echi nti so afore anwo ne ne ensem so ononyamfo eye ginapo enso de nano eto ebra na sentuo oil refinery wono mo ye nhyeche na wono mo eye phase 2 yimo eno na odi tudwa wo chem se ne se de edi ka de atudwa no empemaduana de kompem wo ha de edayie pa na eye nhyehyeye ebebo ama niema atimi akọ enkan wo no wo se ansa na wo no be mfinhyia mpembienu ne wo hwe mfinhyia mpembienu ene aduonu baako a wo man yankasa tema oil refinery ye de ano no na ye mum esiwo a anya adwuma nya hwe aban yi ba ye wo no abebo amene ahyase ye adwuma wo no kra no anya hwe no da bia no empemaduonu enwotwe ankore no wo no dadani eye no de boa enti wo se so ready wo man yi de eye ene ne ne senjo oil refinery so eye no mo de aboso ye a na se eniema hyeyi a ebetimi aboa ama niema akonkan na de nyina mu no mampanyi John Dramani ma mani suade hu no eno so atimi asipi na asita owura abu ginapo ononyamfo
sure that we did not have supply disruption. A lot of countries witnessed unease, a lot of distractions because they did not plan. But the most important point was when His Excellency directed that we must produce our own crude, process our own crude, consume our own crude, and stabilize the economy. And so not long ago, myself and the Minister for Trade were here to witness the delivery of about 1 million barrels to the Central Refinery. This second phase is even more important because in line with His Excellency's vision of resetting Ghana and adding value to our own products and resources, we are going to take the Central Refinery from a refinery capacity of 40,000 barrels per day to 100,000 barrels per day upon completion. So we are anchoring energy security. We are adding value to our own resources, but more importantly, we are creating jobs. And from my discussion with the chairman, the employment level will move from about 700 or 800 to 1,500 upon completion of this refinery.
So for here and one in near and some so and training Casenjo on your refinery say ya one more year ya one more be a moving pim ebianai at the air core and pim waha abrebia ancrebiano and also in the two jana.
Enta so na yenko fango ho ensem way na yenum se eja aban yi ba ye yi a wode hye ahodo gu akwambu no na eye fuel no ene diesel bo no na eja na nka ejina ho yia ne sa na kaka na ene de na petrol no ene liter ba ko bia 10 Ghana cedis ena na ewo na diesel no so de 11 to 12 Ghana cedis ena na yeto no na enche bia ena yehu se eye Israel ni Iran ene US entokwa ne nam so ma yehu se emu epeja ye no na akwakoye arohosem ede ama yenyina ewo ye man yemu na ese no kame akoye sa tension no na ewo ho no a entokwa no a ekonam so ma ene ma fafa ngumfa ha me ma fafa ngum atwam enam so ma sa ne ma we nyina bae no sese no ekofom eno nti no wohwe ewiase amansan edwadie ene se de omoton eye fango ene crude oil no sa ne ma ne nyina aba fom eno no kire sampa bia na nidaso wo ho asamiti ekwa homa ne so se ebenya yera Samson Adele ye energy expert na ene no akotwetwe enkomo opanyi ade Owia TV studio yemwa ha wie
Pejo so.
e ba cho mpom te say
Me ho ye pa na mo so.
nyame adom aha enso oyeboko me ba cho obo nkonte na ahwe wanimu a se de se wiase adwama so fa nwo ho semesitie no wo se enteso bi beba na
Yes, yeah, sure any the next price window which will be the first price window for the month of July no. You bet menya ayente so beba as in sent so no much kwatu bet my do kese kakra de amaya.
okay na cha se me ba cho ye hwemu a eye Iran ne Israel ne US ntokwa no ananse factors ahodo bi wo ho e na akofa sa we no aba.
Yes, osha entokwa na e say entokwa no twetwa na entokwa no twetwa no ebo no edinka by $92 per barrel and yes no ohwemu a about $74 a chese export me at kese kakra ye and cedi no so no da so na 11 cedis 40 pesos and no you very good and so betimi aboa ama reduction so set my kese e dey amount wo hwe world market price no be abeda 74 no dey na the average on a normal day se bibi nyansi ya e ta ton fu a se wo cedi no so ahoɔde no eye ma wo dey na kire se obenya nteso a emu ye dey amount
Orade wadama adenti na mprempren ya aban no nhwe na won fa sa hwehwe we emba.
Usha price build up na kire ema ye say is niema miensa enti se niema miensa no emu mienu tumi ye good a kire se ebo no betima ba for enti se tax cra bi e wo honum na se u ese o dia ka ho na ebe ma na kosoro but usha jama so bo no na wo form na o dollar no so na se cedi no so emu ayedu a enu tumi boa ma two no betima cover the other one no ama ebo na ye appreciable yama yetimamfo
Yo opanyi ade wo koye opanyi a wabene na woni bia mapa wo ahonende ho ensemo no se sia ne de yetumi nkansi su dwam se ombete so anaso o monte so gese ye twen next pricing window na chese July bosom de no eba no sa na apa kire.
Yes na July 1st na nteso ana sem to we baba wo hwe ne ma ye digina so ne de hwe ebo no de a bibia kire se ye beti bo no so by 1st July.
Yo na ohwe a obetima ma ye ohamu abu pen percentage be sen na ye hwe ni mu sente so no beba.
Member range the mean to be more but by 4 to 7% ya enyem nwa.
Okay. Yo. Madama ma ye na wase awie na ye ntwen na koba se o ma ante so nso no so betima si betima hwe ni safa no.
Eba so mante so ebe nwa na ade de nke bebusa NPA ni aban no de enti o mante so.
O se bi o mo hwe hu safa na eba fom e wo wiase adwama so no ntikeja ko mu do mani di akire ahwe na nko ekoko de eri bi wate ase se de be ye je o mo mete so na afa e be sa akokosoro na eno so de sem bi aba e betima si sanso.
Anunti na ubusa me se be 47 nyasa o hwe ka de we anti so ni si ba no na cedi no so ahoɔde no mu gyina mu na nkenya be 9 to 12% kwa na nka nyanwanwa ba se bia eba na ban na boka subsidy ode ma ye obati kakra bi di afiri mu no nti o ma ye be 4 to 6% a enu ye ba kora sa de bia ni ye be fra ban na na be se de nti akora sa.
Okay obanyi ma ye na wase awie se ebo wapono moje yeso.
Miss Bedasi.
Yo owura Samson Adele opanyi a wabene ewa ahonede ho ensemo ne na kodi komo ne jese ye de ntumi ka hwe kopem se eda no a ECG fo no watafo so omoto enzuo ne nkane abo nim no eni ebehu se fan wo bo no enso ebetumi abafo ma
ya me ba ko pa ne transport
kesika no me shedan mamu sa
ora form no kodu 23 Ghana cedis e wo 2022 no ebo a wono mutum de koye no eno na sambre wono mo je nanso ebinum sa pagam mimi wo say no omoji 6 cedis 50 pesos and na wo moji 10 cedis flat wo bia nka nkohwe ho hwenti e be se sa aba no pese o manfo ho to ye di a monhwe ho no nso sanse ebo na eba fam so ahyenkafo to ahyenti ade mu yanto so na yemfa emamo ewo ho no osofo a wono na wo hwe ahenie esom ahodo na afen kronketwa ne mpatem amamu ensem so eye ononyamfo Ahmed Ibrahim na Ahmed Ibrahim de ensem de atodwa ye nyina ye dimu se ora Francis Xavier Sasu a wono eye Medina mrache bedwani ononyamfo eye mre bia atwamuo de nkrata bi ko man Ghana mrache bedwafia no obo ho bra sa na ebe mra na sabia kusabia kronto ebe time po na ebe bonfosam so obi bebie na no na wase obi se wo beifo ene ade a emra no won muntumi nwie yi ema mra bedwa kora nwie mama mpanyin nsan ema ne meye emra eno no onyamfo yi di tudwa wo chem se ebra so se wose wonum guso no omo yo no omo hyem kena na ni nyina mu no asoye a wo hwe ma mofra ne asetem ye yonsam so no wonum so wotwa kapa ye nyina ye nim se wo man Ghana na yem se da bra ye wo man edi kan minim se bi wo ma ewiase dia minim a ye wa beifo camp ayate a obitim ka se ma me beifo no wode na kwa akotena ho no se ho ye rich camp na we ka se ye enti won mo hwe se na ye be ya won be na afi aye bonde fosem se obi mpo bebie na no na wabo obi bayi.
Mr. Speaker, the phenomenon of witchcraft accusations remains a pressing social challenge in our country, often resulting in stigma, violence, and exclusion of vulnerable groups, especially women, children, and the elderly. The accusations undermine the dignity of our citizens and threaten the peace of our communities. Mr. Speaker, the private members' bill on witchcraft accusations, introduced by Honorable Francis Xavier Sosu, MP for Medina, seeks to criminalize such accusations, protect victims, and punish perpetrators. While the bill has been tabled, it has not yet been passed into law. In September 2025, the Human Rights Committee of Parliament assured the stakeholders that it will reintroduce the bill for passage and presidential assent. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAG, and other civil society groups have also urged Parliament to expedite its passage, citing rising cases of violence linked to witchcraft accusations. Mr. Speaker, until the bill is enacted, Ghana lacks a comprehensive national law, specifically criminalizing witchcraft accusations. Victims remain vulnerable to stigma, violence, and exclusion, particularly in rural areas. However, this presents a policy opportunity for the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy, and Religious Affairs to rally chiefs, religious leaders, and grassroots support before the bill is finalized. Mr. Speaker, this year, the Ministry has set a target to review 2 existing laws on witchcraft enacted within the sub-region, with the aim of aligning Ghana's legal framework with international human rights standards. We are also considering the adoption of the private members' bill on witchcraft accusations. Collaboration with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection remains essential to safeguard vulnerable population and ensure comprehensive protection mechanisms, including shelters for victims of witchcraft accusation, domestic violence, child trafficking, and child marriage. Mr. Speaker, the rationale behind our resolve is clear. Chiefs, queen mothers, and traditional leaders are custodians of culture and authority in our communities.
Esum afei ahenie ene nkronkota ne mpatam amemo nsem no nyamfo Ahmed Ibrahim ena yetenka odi tudwa nche ne kwan omofa so se ne be ya wombetumi adi saa emre yi hudwuma
Honorable Kwabena Minta Kandro ne empobedensofo ewo ye mayemu se hudwa aboso no ahye no na wode atudwa abrana joint matriculation ceremony bi ekoso ede ama anesifo a se no specialized nursing students as se no omoche so omo nim de mapa ewo efa bi so se de be yo madwuma no a omusua sa anesifo no omuso benya nim de mapa ewo fa ba bi na tumi abo ama oman pobode ho sem enso atumi etompo no Kwabena Minta Kandro de atudwa se aban no enya scholarships by se aduasa a wode be ma nipa aduasa nyina health tutors and a for or momocha dear wo empomudin sukusu ahodo no emuna we no munyina ba besua omo ye PhD programs na to say no atumi aboa ama omo so anya nimde ni bebre de aka de omo ho na aboa ama empomudin ho subset tumpon wo yeman yemo honorable kwabena ninta akando
is specialists to fill the critical gaps within our healthcare system locally and also to support the managed migration policy of the government. Achieving this requires investment in infrastructure, equipment, human resources, and system strengthening. There is introduction of competency-based curricula for nursing education. We have secured over 30 scholarships for health tutors to pursue PhD programs. To meet urgent national needs and global demand, we're expanding the nurse specialist training in the
Honorable Kwabena Minta Akando empomode so afọ ya mai mo se ridwa so emra hye betwani ro so yetenike
absefo yenko mpp amanyoko no won ma hye ye nyina ye nim yesie ne ne ekoso e wo no mo Ken must go ene ate ne nra mpanyimfo na nti ne adwetwe ro kotena se meche national eye executive committee no won mo ekotena se na won mo nta se nyina aye nkrata ebinom atwetwe e de aba second de okompre kwa Japan won mo hwe na won mo nyina kwamfiri mpp amanyoko zansa waje won kwadin e wo ho no mo ekowi ache mu nim dia besie dada se won mo so abo ache de ama discipline committee a won MPP amanyoko no mu na eno ena nkitawode ebofoten panyimpa e wa amanyoko ye ono nyamfo Richard Ahiagba won wo de to animu ebisa no se ai se de yate na amachem no sa pepepe empanyimfo mu tiri mu bobbe wo no ekotena ase nek no ekotena ase wieye ena omo so abo ache ena omo de ama won ma won hwe no omo tenetene obi a wadi bone ana se waye de ma bi emfata e wa amanyoko de akoto won so epono so se won mu enhwemu na emmomu no gina ya ofiri se wo se wonum nsie eno de ononyamfo Richard Ahiagba enya de a wotumi esi gina ye e wo ho
meeting enti efi sa kwada no say ya transe no steering committee receive some petitions be I did kind about through general secretary office enti it was brought to steering committee and the steering committee they call NEC and NEC refer to National Council. Disciplinary committee. Petition no the demo train a petition concerning Yebra Penny Kennedy or Henny Japan. By the disciplinary committee as internal processes no no and penny for almost 2 weeks. Say amonfa new mujuma na amonfa report no and brand neck National Council in 2 weeks. Until the course no, there were other businesses on the young agenda no, but are not subject for discussion. But the woman I said abeto abontia you say the won come no Penny Canadian Japan petition.
Okay.
And at this point in the day this committee for some Omedio Mujuma, which will include some from normal on in and then they will bring their recommendation to National Council NEC.
Otufo sa wuko social any ni media no so na ene won mo ade pa a won mo bɔ modern adwuma pa wo chama nyoko da chitafo bi a won de ato mo so se ho TikTok or Facebook ene me aya wodo nyina mo ye mo nkoso anya modwuma no obesre sa mo mfa ni die ne ebuo emfa ento ho na mo nya ne pepepe se de be betimi aboa ama manyoko na timi akonkan na wankɔ kasa ama ankwankoti ama abansa nso mu
MPP structure no from polling station on said and same the constitutional amendment Lagos in July 2025 at the communication officers abeka structure no our polling station and electoral area and to say from police station, electoral area, constituency, region, and national, no, your communication officers, and that is your structure. No. Now, under the communication officer at the police station, constituency, your communication teams are forming at those levels. And through the structure, no, information are part in the best communicating. No, the bread or more from top guidance every national level. That's the structure. No. Along the line, no, we have social media. Teams are almost supported in terms of relaying information on social media. But so a team at the various structural levels. No. And that is a structure as it is. But the internal may say a very important question. I attend the any in Sambia about Manfoka na idea MPP. That's not our character and operation.
Okay.
But Akoko said communication now is diffused. And he ubia or dog party no, and that's all a party member, and that's all per party nasem. To me, use the phone. To me, use the social media handles. They communicate boa party no. And no party no don't have direct control of the individual who are not within the structure of a boa party no. Edin komosa. Enti dano ye encourage saafo no say omo enhwe party ni suban party na namo tuo na aye culture as a conservative party na omo mfa ni nkomo no the fact no o na o promoter a enhia so obedi atam enti eno no mafa ofidie so asre say nyina ye mfa ye ho ntimu na ye communicate emwa MPP edwuma ne doso edwuma ne so Obia mfa na honden embeboa but attemdie ene kasa ntwi ne nsem a beka emfa saying emfa ebuo anase edimpa
Abjafo ononyamfo Richard Ahiyagba wono na chese woye party ni communications director na wode nsemsi atodwai.
Lawyer Ralph Japan so Yewra Kennedy ohene Japan ni nuane mpon wanye nchen. Osanso lawyer ni na wode aba bahwim. Se ni nua Kennedy ohene Japan MPP amnyoko no wajai. Enya afi na amnyoko ni panifo be yese omo wa befre no peti hi bi krofo bi di aba enti befre Kennedy aba totona no abebuza say ye den na maachi na ye nua na kosi se wose da bi ni nua no MPP amnyoko no waja akura enti no.
The big ones are one big wajai. Man pretty for the reason. But so make me the number to now. Omo call on the boys no call. Make me the number to now. Well, the number now. On Johnny in the winter. Some me can't smell my can number. Yeah? Some me can't smell my Japan I can buy.
Ralph Japan or lawyer ni nuane mpon ni Yewra Ken ohene Japan.
Yada so ejina ononyamfo Kennedy okompreko Japan semia akoda MPP amanyoko nanima ebia na afa na wutie kura ubisa se ensembe ya ensem nyina ye ensem a okokan ye edefa afari asojafo aya asabia yesie ewo afari eno ewo asantemantem ha ye se MPP amanyoko no ba na wosanka mbo omode no omwe mfinsia enwotwe mo anwie obi ba abusumi num wudi je akoto no so sa ade na wanwie eno na amanyoko no emu bi epuri ya wo motiko wo se apint wo makobo fom a wo matrotro ho nkrata se ono kwan wa ya wenye bi de kan ye amanyoko no yese fefe bia na odi gya to ase na haba na aboko na ase ni ade a na yehwe na yakwa ahoma no so se yebenya ye ora Abdul Jalilu Atiku a waben wa amanyosem na ye na kodi ho enkomo ho se de modi ka te dada me ne wo ekasa ye nek no ekwatena se no won mabo akire e de akoma ye discipline committee wa MPP amanyoko no mu se won hwe so miwra ewia yi me mo ha mo akwa baba Owia Kaseɛ so
Major so na ma what is saying.
Nyame adom eye pa. Wadam mo Kennedy okompreko Japan nsemi ya akotodwa amenne National Executive Committee abochi no mode ama discipline committee no ufri se ekwan be pa na MPP amanyoko no wonu mfa emfa so.
You me that say me fa afit match ya atiefo nyina. Nyame kan say political party organization tawa de there so long as nipa in a room and obia or interest, passion, bibia, and tawa de etimi eba. But say a drew baby na say more resolve it tawa na eno and edit or how ebe brem. And I think that we've shared the MPP. They have experienced it for a very long time. From 2020, Nana differences and Nama or more electoral parliamentary seat reduces up to be na or more. It's a good thing. Initially, I think say Abia na the party's council of elders Abia and come to me also ano because one you are dealing with Nipa while contesting as a flag bearer, while this second or the kind contested the previous one 2023, and at this time so contested na one I thought second. So such Nipa no se bibisa ever directly affected or no when they be one can say be na party for money and yeah you look at where you are or situation because this is the rebuilding part of the MPP after Google or 2024 election. Normally, say, election, say, would be a year. You need to do introspection. Now, and then maybe differences will be no more use it more parties reconciliation and other conflict resolution mechanism now what they are addressing. And I think disciplinary committee is also part of it, but normally and no sometimes it comes with sanctions. So sometimes, in my view, Ranka Ebia, na omo conflict resolution mechanism now omo use it to address some of them. But if in the view of most of the party members, Ebia and similar work no Ebia any omo constitution ebo bra, then there's no problem if it has been referred to the disciplinary committee. But I think that they need to tread cautiously because sometimes one should be action be a worker could take, you need to look at the base, the support now you have as the political party. Because after 2024, I have always said that 2020 is going to be a very difficult election for the MPP.
Okay.
Right? Looking at where they came from. So this particular period, a year period it was as party in opposition, if they are able to avoid some of these differences now, if they are able to bend it in such a way, say, Eddie in Kabum as a party,
okay,
that one will be better than say Bia. If you're not going to take disciplinary action, Abia at the end of the day, then a bit more demonstration say, a Canadian crowd, I was say, Pam, every party no more. So, every party no more. So, and as a bonnie bay and a debre party, they need to weigh carefully about this. That's what made me feel saying, Abia, and Mama, conflict resolution mechanism, because I don't know, you dialogue with the person. Seminar near Eha Nipana Abia, who making certain comments, mo feel say the progress of the party, that one you'll be able to address it within using that conflict, answer reconciliation mechanism. But when it gets to the disciplinary committee, maybe there may be some sanctions. Sometimes it could be maybe a suspension and I say be a pamo. Now, okay. Can say be a one suspending or the one share now it will rather push because there are so many people who may be because
and yerati committee won kapa ehun hia say e was wo mu sigina say wo mo ayi na fra manyuku no nya sa.
And because I do not think say they should get to that point for now.
Okay.
Unless say ABA omo are using omo internal party resolution mechanism to address the issue and resolve it. That's why Nipa no go ahead to be doing that. Then you can escalate it to that point. Say Bia, you will get to a point where you even suspend the person or not say be more enough free party no more. But in my view, for now, it is too early. So what I say, it is too early. I think that rather using the reconciliation mechanism of the party to deal with it. Then you refer if something like this has happened, maybe as a party, munya use internal party resolution mechanism to address it, then you refer it to the disciplinary committee. What about if the committee make recommendation say, oh, this person should be suspended? You know exactly what is going to come. The next thing is that you must see the person resigning or going to resigning, and it's not just a resign. So a resigner, it's not going to be just the end. He's going to take certain actions be affect him as a party. If you recall, in the 2020, in the lead up to the 2024 election, some of the critical voices of the MPP government have been party leaders.
Yeah.
Because them be no more can be nipa to say be at Kennedy, right? Say nipa no ekano. It's affecting. It's rather helping the opposition because it's affecting the government. Who share opinion nyawo tamakulu. In seminar about Omoa party and several of such key figures in the MPP. It created something in the minds of Ghanaians. MPP crowd, that is not a vehicle that is fit for purpose. And so when you do so, coming after losing the election to this magnitude, I think this is the point. I was saying almost reflecting about some of the decisions. For me, I feel say, and this is the time now. In paying for this way, no, they will be. Even though I know that the current, the flag bearer, I take certain steps to reach out to some of them, which is very good. And I think that it should not just be a one-off thing. So if Canada, Japan now, or contest here, the second person, I think he garnered about 23% of the vote. Previously, he had about 38, almost 40% of the vote. So this is a very key person, right? So in dealing with him as a political party, where numbers are very critical to you, because even though in Omu contest, one making any significant IE, but the fact is say only party say my free me party no men can so obi come na say also on san come na or cut so many things about who you are. People tend to believe, all right? So I think that this is the point in my view, the MPP should do a very serious introspection to look at, then
to asia me pacho Bacha what me kan na yesa de wo kan me to ase a na ni nua Rafa Japan e de ato dwa se party no ankasa kra no Canada Japan wo free mu dada se ko ban se ye no kra mpa na me se bisa se ene MPP amanyoko no kosi ginaye se wo mu ayi Canada Japan e de free mu a ene na de wo kan me ti ase a na se ebekọ e de ti amanyoko no pa won.
Definitely it will affect them, right? Definitely, because it's important. Says a new Kaseɛ because Canada Japan so also a Kabibi say like is it if I remember the statement me or make it say suggest to say like or that kind of thing, and sometimes also threatening say in June, July or 2027. We don't know exactly what is going to happen. So that is why it's important for an internal mechanism now to use it. The more you use it, and one solution now, and not to have one picture not clear. But then you will now see the decision say, okay, now we dismiss him. What is going to happen to us, right? What is the impact before you take any decision? But sometimes if you run to say Nipana Kaseɛ Nekura Menkamu Hubium, and now say be saying or they have done certain things here, then you just facilitate.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know one share the or how will be better. So
yeah, that's area here
to study issue, look at this and get him understand some of the issues. If then the way the cost and benefit analysis of maybe suspending or sacking him from the party.
Oratiku ya dasi area eni unchemu adi amaye. Ora Abdul Jalilu Atiku wodye try man yosem ewo University of Ghana wono ene ene ekobo nkoma wodi nchemu ma papa ede afa Kennedy okompre kwa Japan wo firi mu ana wo mfiri mu gina ye wo si wo musie sunsunsanso eni nsunsanso ebetimi aba ewo NPP amanyokuo no so.
Kane asante mantamusuafo no Simon say mensa ene wono nso ebe wo ye Owia TV fianum si abra na o mahene odubuache atena na kunya kese mu ode ade chedwumade no ekoso na dwumade ni mu komobo na honorable Simon Osemensa ede etudwa sese si apa de yehwe kumase hase yi a KJT phase 2 redevelopment no afa kuro from January si wonu afa abuaguo no ene so am interchange no so anwe ne sisi wonu a ateche aje ho aboso nyina sa ne me wo gidi mapa se ka ho bi ene de MPP amnyeko no ekotena eban na chi as say no mo ewo opposition na wo se won ka enyu ne ho mfiri so no na wo ya Asante mantem ne so afo enu nti no se ye pe obi ne sa tere ne so a ye enyi wo no afu bo mo gitum sanfom so ene bai to mo sre Asante man nyina se de asibia obia enyai emanenka na sakwanya babio na homobro bi baraga na foto aba ede ma MPP ahonyeko no na omo betena benwa ne so a omo behwe na ensiesi ahodo bia omo aye
me makase ade edi yedem kese ewo Asante mantem other factors can hold it but the three key ones so am interchange KGT phase 2 and Krufru market. Because me say we have challenge with a dark see in sisi home and only a beauty. Enti make us say woman terminate. Because Saban any sika de and stores in the way inside now. What they on want this all whisker. Who see no pretty for certain number of years.
Now they are mine.
Now they are mine. And this Saban any sika and any dia once way. Now him came me call home say or more terminating. Which me boss a car boy 60 million.
60 million Ghana cedis.
Yes. Now me come to me say back on back and I'm saying 60 million say me see market to cry. Honor the maka say ya di so bono ba me many came for na yon family. Yes, a woman say came me ena Besa what she was. Oh, dear,
Ujitum say, the responsibility was with you. Tibuna from here.
Yeah, I don't find central government.
Honorable Simon Osei Sa Kane Asante Mantamuso for and on the city a
Not just say, and could go near course on the Kajetia, proof room, so I'm interchanging account. And yes, I know no Subena petition. I was young queen man. Environmental Protection Authority and so akasa na wono de atodwa so mguso anje se ne ne megu kwamu saade ya mu no akasa mfonyini isu yie nchanse abono mo ede styrofoam na wono ede aya ayese foam ayeda so ebie ene se supermarket ne somu a edare boko se kwan abefa so a obedada na obebunu na wanya no wompambu no sa na edede na ene won mo se won mo de tabono to so mo makwa memepie wo mamu bi mu anya no nko a won mo de mani ku twari so mienu santa mo de hwe sane e be ya ehwo akade a won mo krade firi nkrofo aman so e de be pie wo mamu makuo bi so de ye nsa nchansi ya muhu ye bie no no titiri no won ma ya na won mo koto ade ya esensonsuni mo friend e binum friend Talia ebinum friends pagari ebinum friend enemy ena ebinum ewodi be bro friend ya mudigum ena fe emo aya sa no aya chie yie wo mu adibi gum ena ya grace mkratim kotodi hu na ya tefa na ya de ama wo no mba no ma behwe wo ma bomu negu so na amra ne sitable so na wote hu no odi esenito a wo bobanye ni nyina no aya ade a wo mo se wo no hwe na wo mo de tab no ede atoso na wo mo guso wo mo ye nhyehyeye nso a anya hwe no no wo mo behu kwan on befa so na obi obeya asobrache no on befa so atwena so owura a wo no o kiremu yi na oda ano no acting director sustainability circular economy EPA Larry Koto and wo kiremu se anya hwe no enu se ye nkowura mfinhyia mpemienu aduonu enso no mu no bosome miensa ebeka amia kowura mu no na nhyehyeye yi etimi ahyase aye adwuma ntitiru yesu hyengina bia ene me aya ahodo a wo muzi se efa hodom no na wo modi hu adwuma
yetoso na yakoye ni ma yeba asokwa haya na MPP amanyoko no enda omoso afrase a womo anototo dwumade omode koso ede ama constituency executives a womo ewa ha se womo atwe omuti a ompese ombeye constituency executives amanyoko no ha no eno omo afrase omo ye weni nyina eye internal elections a na me eye adom July bosume ba besiru de toso edu ebako ena dwumade no ebeba so na omo cheso omo ne omatena se edidi ndikomo ebi mu akọ mawie no omo bonkomo ama cheso omo koye ne ebeka se ko sumutu omo ko ebibia eko boko no panyini bako a wode Eric Chei or first vice chairman ewo Manso Adobia wakwaba ene no abonkomo
Abuja for say the any MPP party ne dey party bia ye normal no professionalism no was because elite party eti vetting before na e be kono na ye contest na in fact o hwe tension na ground so no be e hwe say constituent secretary there any position na ye falasa because una obey the engine for the party administratively una obey try and make sure say o be hye amankrata se wa ye adwuma e party ni mum initially no na abumbu kakra ba if say nam supporters na ebusa say mekọ ana menko but nyame ncha na ye metimi aba maba bet na mabe pick number 1 there kira say bigusu amekọ manim na mewie bet na bibia so tutom question bi e ba ye bia no so ne ko which is my crowd say meeting my secretary adwuma na my constituency no agine bi ni afa ne tuma pan so afra question dey tie ne say on say party na e ho sisi no those days na your systems bi an e fen analog na e bra na e chochoro nkata bebre na chochoro nkata na in fact insu kra betimi akọpọ no ase no enam senti o man panyina sisi yi na obetu franka ama ye friend Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia dodo na atu ni say the digital president enam senti ama digital na o fato no so no ama honhom no so afaye itimi am gina so me digital secretary na digital secretary na me menye ne sa akwa
bra entry premper Joseph nso kyeresa panyifo na kwanya obasom se twerofo ede ama amanyeko no ewo executive level ho wono so ko ba ye no one ye hwehwe nkom
no ye hope say and a real balloting so they will be say we call a TS grounds na ya go to campaign so na 11 July delegations so abechere baby ayenko deputy secretary there you say dissemination of information is very key the very say information via a free source a panel plan a better form of survival the better down and information means so here say a core headquarters a core regional via any be doing aside winning so teamwork here dey many ejehu ye pa omisa me deputy secretary running the party day-to-day administration no and say nsa but said youth organizer
vetting ekoso constituency executives no o ma no toto adwumadi no ekoso no ene ekoti egina se mu eso na kase bo no ye de nyina esi wa na se ne de manu so adwumafo ne aboafo kuku achanto ene akosu asomoa ene boaboa no ede ema ye buzika ho be sanso na Mr President Nelson Nanayaw ene Simon mu nyina ne papa ni original papa ni mu nyina eka ho no boaboa ya ensemi yetimi ede ebesomo MCI director sexy Obaya Gracie the lady
in the what ya to so pa na de sexy na bam ne nantuo sekula a chese wode ya hye de to so sakete wo manhia na wode ya to so na wape kikishe na na ne kom ha no wo yi style bi wo ha no sa no se de wanya accident ye ho apai no na wa ne to na bobo se bancha ya hye ne botomu ni azem to
so describe busy style or your fresh
na de Obaya nkasa
Obaya ona se so director kase bo nyina ede ema ye manuanu mienu yeso be gire na mro so a ehre ba ko ntamu yi yeso mo esamfo asante yeboa Benedict we dey de ajo anya akọ abron mawia imi ne
ebusia pani owusu